Hey, man, a lot of people don't know, but me and Bret Hart, we had some classic matches back in
Fantastic.
WCW.
Yeah.
We didn't really get a chance to finish that feud or even begin it, but Bret is a good friend of mine. And Bret, I know you're short on time, but I want to get right into it, man. You are perhaps one of the most vocal ex-WWE superstars there's ever been. And talk to me. Why are you so vocal, first and foremost? What do you think about, the state of the business today?
Well, I actually like a lot about the business today. I know I kind of sound like I'm a old sourpuss kind of guy on everybody, but when you do a podcast, you got to talk about the issues that people bring up, and I care a lot about the business, and I love the business, and I'm proud of my contribution to the business, and I think I got a lot to say, about how it should be done and orchestrated, and I speak my mind.
I feel the same way. I'm one of those guys. I was just talking just last week. I did an interview, and I was talking about how we need to think about the psychology of wrestling. Guys go out there and they push the bar. They go out there and do some incredible things. But you and I, we look at it and say, man, they could get so much more out of this. They could actually go out here and have an hour match with all the moves that they just put into it. So I'm definitely on board with you on that right there. As far as some of your favorite guys to look at right now, who would that be?
I'm a big fan of Kevin Owens.
Boom, I am too.
I'm a big fan of Sami Zayn. I'm actually a big fan of Seth Rollins. I mean, it sounds like I've been a little hard on him last few months, but trying to make a point that to make him a better wrestler, to make him a better, more, to live up to what I expect out of him. And this business is not about hurting people. And too often people misunderstand my point, and maybe including him. He thinks that I got a hard on for him, or I'm out to get him, or out to make him sound bad. I'm not. I love his wrestling, and I like him as a person. He's a respectful guy, and I know he's trying his hardest. But Goldberg was the same with me. He was a great guy, and I love Bill Goldberg. But he cost me millions of dollars, and he hurt me really badly, and there's no room for it. And I know, Chris Jericho and Seth did a podcast a few months ago, and they were kind of ragging on me for making such a big deal about, one little accident in the ring. But I watched really closely the match where he kneed John Cena in the face, and you know what? There's just no excuse for those kind of mistakes.
Yeah.
If you're doing CrossFit all day and you're too tired to do your stuff in the ring, or you're getting, there's just no excuse. When you watch a guy grab a guy and jerk his head down and knee him full blast in the face as hard as you can, and actually move his nose to the side of his head, there's just no room for those kind of mistakes. He's really lucky that he didn't kill John Cena right in the middle of the ring. That's a potential fatality when you make those kind of mistakes. And then I know I kind of made a big thing about it, and the truth is there's no room for mistakes in wrestling. When you make a mistake one time, you could cost somebody's family, everything that they got. They kill somebody in the middle of the ring. You could fall on. Andre the Giant could have fallen on somebody any time and killed somebody, but he never did. He was a pro every night, and I wrestled 23 years. I never injured one single wrestler ever. And I had a very, very physical, rough, tough style. I did a lot of, crazy things in the ring. But, my priority was always the safety of the guy I worked with. I always, you meet their kids and you meet their wife in the back. And, there's just no room for mistakes. And especially in wrestling today, in WWE, they got good rings now. They're safer than they were when I was wrestling. They're not as hard as they used to be. And wrestling should be, I love the way these guys are working so hard. But, like that move that Seth Rollins did where he hurt that Finn Balor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Same move that hurt Sting as well.
And it ended his career.
Yeah.
Well, if you just think about it logically, you go, okay, I'm going to pick somebody up and I'm going to go through their legs under the ropes, and then I'm going to do like Razor Ramon, and I'm going to just grab you and do the
Razor edge. Yeah.
Basically the move. But if you just think about it, say, okay, I'm going to pick you up, and then I'm going to run full blast as hard as I can, just hurl your body against that padded wall. And if you watch it, it's like, as soon as I saw it, I said, that's so, if someone had done that to me, I would have been pretty mad.
Well, and the thing is, it only takes one mistake. And everyone knows, when we go out there and perform, it's definitely a performance. My life is in your hands when we go out there. You remember Draws, Draws paralyzed, for life, from one accident. We call it an accident, but it makes it no less, of a situation where one's family got to go through. I remember and you guys could go back and look at on WCW when Booker T versus Mike Awesome. Mike Awesome did pretty much, a running power bomb on me, and I landed on the canvas, under the opposite turnbuckle, and literally I could have broken my neck. I was out for like 3 or 4 months, but I literally could have been out for the rest of my life. So this thing is dead serious as far as going out there and performing.
Yeah, Bret. I was concerned with the running power bomb as well. I saw when it injured Finn. My question to you would be, since Sting was injured by Seth Rollins and Finn Balor, do you think that running power bomb should be banned? That's what's been the talk online.
Well, banned is fine. I don't have a problem banning it. I think it comes down to logic. Like you can't just think up a move in your head and go, okay, I'll pick somebody up and I'm just going to throw them backwards and into the post, or you have to think, would you want someone to do the same thing to you? And not every wrestler's a CrossFit guru, where they're all in super fit and super strong, and that they're, a lot of guys are there's all kinds of different bodies and styles in wrestling, and and you're working it with a guy like Sting, or you're working with a guy like Bob Backlund, or you're working with a guy like Jerry Lawler. If you're a young buck and you're full of piss and vinegar like Seth Rollins is, you got to change your style around. You got to work a little different. You got to take care of these guys. They're a little older. Things are, you got to protect these guys. And, I know Seth Rollins has a good heart and he's trying his hardest for the company. But, you got to just think about the moves you're doing and go, you got to go, do I really need to do this move? Like the movie did to Finn Balor. I go, it didn't even mean anything. It didn't help the match anymore. It didn't make the match any better. It was not like everybody went home that night talking about a great move that was. It was a wasted effort. Like it's just, you go to so much trouble to do this move, and then you hurt somebody. You got to go back to the dressing room every night and meet that wrestler and look him in the eye and go, usually, and Book, you come back, you meet, you shake hands, you hug each other, because, you put your life in this guy's hands. And there's just, I know accidents are going to happen. Accidents happen. I've been Bill Goldberg was an accident. He didn't try to kick my head off, but he did.
Yeah, And you can go, and people, you can go back and watch the tape. You can actually go back and see it. I mean, it was violent, and it was something that you went through a lot because of that one kick. A lot of people outside, don't know that kind of stuff, but I was there. I saw it. What's up, guys? Booker T, 5-time champ. September, here we come. The Harlem Heat reunion. Booker T and Stevie Ray back together again at the old ECW arena. Oh, the Harlem Heat is coming.